long leagues to the north of the butchery at Tumbleton, in a castle overlooking the Bay of Crabs, another lord found himself sliding down a sword's edge as well. From King's Landing came a raven, bearing the Queen's message to Manfred Mooton, Lord of Maidenpool. He was to deliver the head of the bastard girl Nettels, who had been judged guilty of high treason. No harm is to be done to my lord husband, Prince Daemon of House Targaryen, her grace commanded. Send him back to me when the deed is done, for we have urgent need of him. This thing is easily done, said the captain of Mooton's guard. The prince sleeps beside her, but he is grown old. 3 men should be enough to subdue him, should he try to interfere. But I will take 6 to be certain. Does my lord wish this done tonight? 6 men or 60? He is still Daemon Targaryen. Lord Mooton's brother objected. A sleeping draught in his evening wine would be wiser course. Let him wake to find her dead. The girl is but a child. However fell her treason, said Sir Florian. That old knight, grey and grizzled and stern, the old king, Jaehaerys, would never have asked us to do such a thing. These are foul times, Lord Mooton replied, and it is a foul choice this queen has given me. The girl is a guest beneath my roof. If I obey, Maidenpool shall forever be cursed. If I refuse, we shall be attainted and destroyed. To which his brother answered, it may be we shall be destroyed, whatever choice we make. The prince is more than fond of this brown child, and his dragon is close at hand. A wise lord would kill them both, lest the prince burden Maidenpool in his wrath. The queen has forbidden any harm to come to him. Lord Mooton reminded them, murdering 2 guests in their beds is twice as foul as murdering 1. I should be doubly cursed. Thereupon Mooton sighed and said, what that I had never read this letter. What was said after that, the chronicles of Maidenpool do not tell us. All we know is this. A maester, a young man of 24, found Prince Daemon and the girl Nettles at their supper that night, and showed them the Queen's letter. Weary after a long day of fruitless flight, they were sharing a simple meal of boiled beef and beetroot. When I entered, they were talking softly with each other, of what I cannot say. The prince greeted me politely, but as he read, I saw the joy go from his eyes, and sadness descend upon him, like a weight too heavy to bear. When the girl asked what was in the letter, he said, a queen's word, a whore's work. Then he drew his sword and asked if Lord Mooton's men were waiting outside to take them captive. I came alone, I told him, then forswore myself, declaring falsely that neither his lordship nor any other man in Maidenpool knew of what was written on the parchment. Forgive me, my prince, I said. I have broken my maester's vow. Prince Daemon sheathed his sword, saying, you're a bad maester, but a good man. After which he bade me to leave, commanding me to speak no word of this to my lord nor love until the morning. How Prince Daemon and his bastard girls spent their last night beneath Lord Mooton's roof is not known, but as dawn broke, they appeared together in the yard, and Prince Daemon helped Nettles saddle Sheep-stealer one last time. It was her custom to feed him each day before she flew. Dragons bend easier to their rider's will when full. That morning she fed him a black ram, the largest in all of Maidenpool, slitting the ram's throat herself. Her riding leathers were stained with blood. When she mounted her dragon, Maester Norrin records, her cheeks were stained with tears. No words of farewell were spoken betwixt man and maid, but as Sheep-stealer beat his leathery brown wings and climbed into the sky, Caraxes raised his head and gave a scream that shattered every window in Jonquil's tower. High above the town, Nettles turned her dragon towards the Bay of Crabs, and vanished into the morning mist, never to be seen again at castle or court. Daemon Targaryen returned to the castle just long enough to break his fast with Lord Mooton. This is the last you will see of me, he told his lordship. I thank you for your hospitality. Let it be known that through all your lands that I fly for Harrenhal. If my nephew Aemon dares face me, he shall find me there, alone. Thus did Prince Daemon depart Maidenpool for the last time. When he had gone, Maester Norrin went to his lord to say, take the chain from my neck and bind my hands with it. You must need deliver me to the queen. When I gave a warning to a traitor and allowed her to escape, I became a traitor as well. Lord Mooton refused. Keep your chain, his lordship said. We are all traitors here. And that night, Queen Rhaenyra's quartered banner was taken down from where they flew above the gates of Maidenpool, and the golden dragon of King Aegon II raised in their stead. No banners flew above the blackened towers and ruined keeps of Harrenhal. When Prince Daemon descended from the sky to claim the castle for his own, a few squatters had found shelter in the castle's deep vaults and undercellars, but the sound of the Caraxes' wings sent them fleeing. When the last of them was gone, Daemon Targaryen walked the cavernous halls of Harrenhal alone, with no companion but his dragon. Each night at dusk, he He slashed the heart tree in the godswood to mark the passing of another day. 13 marks can still be seen upon the weirwood still, old wounds, deep and dark, yet the lords who have ruled Harrenhal since Daemon's day say they bleed afresh every spring. On the 14th day of the prince's vigil, a shadow swept over the castle, blacker than any passing cloud. All the birds in the godswood took to the air in fright, and hot wind whipped the fallen leaves across the yard. Vhagar had come at last, and on her back the one-eyed Prince Aemond Targaryen, clad in night-black armour chased with gold. He had not come alone. Alice Rivers flew with him, her long hair streaming black behind her, her belly swollen with child. Prince Aemond circled twice about the towers of Harrenhal, and brought Vhagar down in the outer ward, Caraxes 100 yards away. The dragons glared balefully at each other, and Caraxes spread his wings and hissed flames dancing across his teeth. The prince helped his woman down from Vhagar's back, then turned to face his uncle. "I hear you have been seeking us." "Only you," Daemon replied. "Who told you where to find me?" "My lady," answered Aemond. "She saw you in a storm cloud, in the mountain pool at dusk, in the fire we lit to cook the suppers. She sees much and more, my Alice. You are a fool to come alone." "Were I not alone, you would not have come," Daemon said. "Yet you are, and here I am." "You have lived too long, uncle." "On that much we agree," Daemon replied. The old prince bade Caraxes to bend his neck, and climbed stiffly on his back, whilst the young prince kissed his woman and vaulted lightly onto Vhagar, taking care to fasten the 4 short chains between the belt and the saddle. Daemon let his own chains dangling. Caraxes hissed again, filling the air with flame, and Vhagar answered with a roar. As one, the 2 dragons leapt into the sky. Prince Daemon took Caraxes up swiftly, lashing him with a steel-tipped whip, until they disappeared into the bank of clouds. Vhagar, older and much larger, was also slower, made ponderous by her very size, and ascended more gradually in ever-widening circles that took her and her rider out over the waters of the God's Eye. The hour was late, the sun was close to setting, and the lake was calm, its surface glimmering like a sheet of beaten copper. Up and up she soared, searching for Caraxes, as Alice Rivers watched from atop the Kingspire Tower in Harrenhal below. The attack came sudden as a thunderbolt. Caraxes drove down upon Vhagar with a piercing shriek that was heard a dozen miles away, cloaked by the glare of the setting sun on Prince Aemond's blind side. The bloodworm slammed into the old dragon with terrible force. Their roars echoed across the God's Eye as the 2 grappled and tore at one another, dark against the blood-red sky. So bright did their flames burn that fisherfolk below feared the clouds themselves had caught fire. Locked together, the dragons tumbled towards the lake. The bloodworm's jaws closed about Vhagar's neck, her black teeth sinking deep into the flesh of the large dragon. Even as Vhagar's claws raked the other dragon's belly open, and Vhagar's own teeth ripped away a wing, as the lake rushed up below them with terrible speed. And it was then, the tales tell us, that Prince Daemon Targaryen swung a leg over his saddle and leapt from one dragon to the other, in his hand Dark Sister, the sword of Queen Visenya. As Aemond One Eye looked up in terror, fumbling with the chains that bound him onto his saddle, Daemon ripped off his nephew's helm and drove the sword down into his blind eye, so hard the point came out the back of the young prince's throat. Half a heartbeat later, the dragon struck the lake, sending up a gout of water that was said to have been as tall as the Kingspire Tower itself. Neither man nor dragon could have survived such an impact, the fisherfolk who saw it said. Nor did they. Caraxes lived long enough to claw back onto land, gutted, with one wing torn from his body, and the waters of the lake smoking about him. The bloodworm found the strength to drag himself onto the lake shore, expiring beneath the walls of Harrenhal. Vhagar's carcass plunged to the lake floor, the hot blood from the gaping wound on her neck bringing the water to a boil over her last resting place. When she was found some years later, after the end of the Dance of the Dragons, Prince Aemond's armoured bones remained chained to her saddle, with Dark Sister thrust hilt deep through his eye socket. That Prince Daemon died as well, we cannot doubt. His remains were never found, but there are queer currents in the lake, and hungry fish as well. The singers tell us the old prince survived, and afterwards made his way back to the girl Nettels, to spend the remainder of his days at her side. While such stories make for charming songs, but poor history, even Mushroom gives these tales no credence. It was upon the 22nd day of the 5th moon of 130 AC, when the dragons danced and died above the God's Eye. Daemon Targaryen was 49 at his death. Prince Aemond had only turned 20. Vhagar, the greatest of the Targaryen dragons since the passing of Balerion the Black Dread, had counted 181 years upon the earth. Thus passed the last living creature from the days of Aegon's conquest, as dusk and darkness swallowed Black Harren's accursed seat. Yet so few were on hand to bear witness that it would be some time before word of Prince Daemon's last battle became widely known.